Hey y'all, how y'all doing today? It is February 17th. It is now 12:28 my time locally because I'm up here in the Great White North of Alaska, and it's snowing. And y'all can tell by the look on my face that this is really this is something I ain't used to. Uh, I'm just thankful to be alive and have a job, but this is a really, really tough and difficult situation. If y'all want me to show y'all outside of my room, if I got enough length, I can show y'all. I hope y'all are getting a chance to see this. Y'all can see, yeah, it's snowing right now. But anyway, uh, this is me. I'm here, and it is about 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon for y'all. I'm just gonna talk about one of my favorite subjects. I never really got a chance to talk about this and express my feelings on it. And the title of this video says it all: my thoughts on Black Panther, or the recent backlash against Black Panther. But I just want y'all to understand one thing. If you're watching this, you shouldn't really trip about, the some of the commentary and the resentment that's developed for the film. This is 1 year later. This is the 1 year anniversary of the film being released, and tonight is, of course, the Oscars, and we all know that that film has been nominated for Best Picture. So, with that said, I felt like this was the appropriate time to kind of release this, put this all together, and put this out to the public. So this is just how I feel. We shouldn't really trip over this. It's normal. Anytime a movie that speaks to the national zeitgeist and it gets this kind of attention, there's always a form of backlash, or better yet, the more appropriate term is there's always a form of criticism and scrutiny. It happens every time. Every major film, every big blockbuster gets some form of criticism and backlash associated to it. Titanic suffered it. La La Land, which I didn't like, but it got 11 nominations. It had its own backlash. The Shape of Water, that film won last year for 2017, even though it was a 2018 ceremony. That film beat out Get Out, and that was highly controversial. And I'm a big Guillermo del Toro fan, but I didn't think that was one of his best movies. And of course, over the last few years, American Sniper, it got some controversy and criticism associated with it. But I can go on and on, y'all. Film in and of themselves, that's subjective matter. One person's trash is another person's treasure. It's also a matter of opinion when it comes down to one film being better than another. It's, whatever one person likes versus what somebody else might dislike. So that's just, it's a matter of opinion, a matter of subjectivity. But here's some hard numbers and some real facts. Black Panther made $700 million at the domestic box office last year. That's a lot of money. That no one saw that coming, and people can't take away from that milestone. It must have done something right to generate that kind of money in the U.S. alone. You have to remember, Black Panther, that made more domestically than Infinity War. And from an international standpoint, from an overall standpoint, we all know Infinity War made $2 billion, but in the United States alone, Black Panther made $22 million more domestically than Infinity War. And I'm going to just go there. It wasn't just Black America alone that propelled that movie, although Black America did indeed give this film a solid foundation to build upon. But this movie transcended race. It transcended sex and gender. It transcended ideology. There was indeed a universal aspect that it connected at a national and international level. Just on domestic dollars alone here in the United States, Black Panther is the number one MCU and comic book movie ever. If you don't believe me, you can go to boxofficemojo.com. And as I do more stuff like this, I'm going to back my statements up with fact, not just opinion. That's real, black and white, the truth. It's a $700 million movie. As far as sci-fi films go, of course, it's not going to touch something like The Force Awakens. But as far as comic book films are concerned, that's a really, really big number. That's a really, really big accomplishment. And that's something, if you're a fan of the film, hey, you got to stick your chest out about that. Best case scenario, Marvel and Disney, they thought that they'd be lucky to get over $750 million worldwide. Think about that. They almost doubled that worldwide amount in just the United States alone. No one, and I do mean no one, myself included, nobody saw $1.3 billion. Nobody saw that. Then there's the merchandising aspect. How many Wakanda shirts or other Black Panther inspired paraphernalia did we see after this movie blew up? It's a case that can be made that, there wasn't enough merchandising or enough paraphernalia to go along with that movie's release. But at that time, I don't think Disney and Marvel knew what they had on their hands. And so they had to be a little bit cautious, a little bit conservative from a marketing standpoint, because nobody knew that it would do that. I'm still stunned to this day that, it's 1 year later and coming out of the President's Day weekend, that movie did $242 million in the United States alone for its opening weekend. That is astonishing. And you compare that 1 year later, Battle Angel Alita, Happy Death Day, and Isn't It Romantic? All three of those movies combined this weekend couldn't even come close to $90 million. So that's something that you have to think about. On a side note, I got to bring this up. Does anyone remember how the Foteps and Hoteps were criticizing Disney about this film exploiting and misrepresenting the struggles of Black America? Remember how some people were out there saying that there needed to be a Disney boycott for trying to sugarcoat and sidestep cultural and historical issues that are still relevant in 21st century America? Well, after that movie premiered, all those criticisms disappeared like a thief in the night. And after the box office results started to come in, some of those same people that were, singing and screaming from the loudest of rafters about Disney exploiting Black culture, those same people were doing everything that they could to jump on the Black Panther bandwagon after it clearly became a sensation and a phenomenon. I ain't gonna name no names. I'm not gonna spend any time bringing some of that stuff up, but I do remember. And some of you who are watching this, I know some people think some of you all remember, some of the concepts or some of the conversations that were being had, how this is Disney just once again exploiting or taking something and culturally appropriating it and then, spending some money on it, but at the same time presenting something to the mass public just to make money off of the Black struggle. Well, after all, the Afrofuturism was presented from seeing, the world of Wakanda, the nation of Wakanda and what it could be. Then, of course, there was the joke that everybody wanted to buy tickets to go to Wakanda, or they were buying plane tickets to go to Wakanda. So that's one of the things that, I just wanted to bring up. Everybody was busy and quick to criticize something without even seeing the movie. And then once they see the movie and see what it could be culturally from a representative standpoint, all those criticisms that some of these people once had, they forgot about those criticisms and they wanted to jump and rush right in on what they saw was something that was very important and was very well lauded and seen as something that was a big successful achievement. Even now, you know, Hasbro has released a second wave of Black Panther Marvel Legends figures 1 year after the initial wave that coincided with the movie. It's 1 year later, and we've got wave 2, the M'Baku Build-A-Figure wave. If you don't think that wave didn't sell well, the first wave from last year, the Okoye wave, then I don't know what to tell you. Matter of fact, Ant-Man and the Wasp were included in wave 2 of the Infinity War line instead of being given their own little standalone wave. You didn't really see that much Ant-Man and the Wasp merchandising and memorabilia when that movie came out. Also, you know, the current season of Avengers on Disney XD is based solely on Black Panther, Shuri, and again, the nation of Wakanda. And I know I'm doing a lot of high concept geek stuff, but hey, I'm gonna do that. That's what I'm gonna talk about. But you just have to stop and think about that now. An Avengers cartoon is being led with an African character as its lead. Of course, you know, in previous seasons, you know, Iron Man, Captain America, even Thor, you know, those characters were central components of the MCU, especially when it came to cartoons. But now in 2018, 2019, the current season of the Avengers, we might as well call it the Black Panther season. And that should really speak to just how well this movie did and just how well it, you know, just its cultural significance and the marketing dollars and the marketing power that is seen by this. I mean, I'm sitting here in awe. The quintessential D-lister. This is what the Black Panther was. This is what T'Challa was. He was the very definition of the token black guy. Marvel had no idea what to do with him. He was created in the Fantastic Four back in 1966. They made him Captain America's sidekick, first in Cap's solo title, and then they took him out of Cap's solo title, put him in the Avengers as the team's first character of color. So, I mean, I want y'all to stop and think about that. You look up the very definition of the token black guy in the dictionary, and Black Panther is who you used to see. And now, you know, after a movie, after his first feature film, he's right up there. He does not, the character, his world, the world building that was done and established by Ryan Coogler and all parties involved, that character does not have to take a backseat to anyone. And he just did this after one movie. And because of that, this film has been nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, which is later on tonight. Oh, yeah. It's the first comic book movie to win Outstanding Performance by Cast in a Motion Picture. The Screen Actors Guild, they gave it a very big up. It's the first comic book movie to make that kind of achievement. So it's almost like their peers from this film, their peers just gave them a very big nod. So you have to think about that as well. You know, that's a really historical accomplishment. So I'm going to go on record. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But so be it. I'm just a guy sitting here in the Town Place Suites in I'm just here sitting in the Town Place Suites in Anchorage, Alaska. But I think Black Panther wins tonight for Best Picture. $700 million at the box office. That dictates why it got nominated, not only just because it was a good film, but the box office that it generated, the credibility that it got. That's why it got nominated. And the Academy and ABC, they want that $700 million worth of ratings. And the only way to cap off the night is for Black Panther to win. The Academy is notorious. They are notorious for choosing Best Picture or giving Best Picture to some of the wrong films or films that the general public just doesn't agree with. Last year, The Shape of Water beat Get Out. In 1990, Dances with Wolves beat Goodfellas. Now, I know those are some both classic films, but Dances with Wolves versus Goodfellas, really? The Last Emperor beat Fatal Attraction in 1987. Everybody was talking about Fatal Attraction in 1987, Cooked Rabbit and all, and it lost out Best Picture to The Last Emperor. Out of Africa in 1985 beat The Color Purple. You know, you have to step back and think about this. Ordinary People in 1980 beat Raging Bull. So you just have to look at, again, it's a matter of opinion still. You know, it's subjective. It's art. Art has always been subjective. But if you just look down the line, there's been those instances where it's been some controversial choices. But the reason why I'm going out on a limb, the Academy doesn't have the power and the relevance to kind of make that kind of decision now, because over the last few years, ratings have fallen for the televised ceremony. Man, I'm having a hard time speaking to y'all right now. That means the Academy is losing its relevancy with the public, and that is a real problem. Also, you know, after the Kevin Hart controversy, the ceremony is not going to have a host tonight. So what's been speculated is that ABC, which is owned by Disney, who is broadcasting the ceremony tonight, they want to reunite all the Avengers and other MCU characters as unofficial hosts and presenters to fill in after Kevin Hart's absence. Y'all just stop and think about that. Just take a moment to stop and think about that. Y'all really can't see the writing on the wall there. But anyway, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You know, Black Panther was the kind of movie I wanted to see. I haven't watched 12 Years a Slave. I haven't watched The Butler. I haven't watched Hidden Figures. I haven't watched Selma. I haven't watched Mudbound. I haven't even watched every Ryan Coogler film because I still have yet to watch Fruitvale Station. I don't have a real desire to watch a film that is a true story about something that seems to be happening all too often in everyday life. I'm not saying that those movies aren't important. I'm just saying that those movies aren't important and they don't have some form of historical purpose, historical and social. It's just I've seen those movies, or I've seen movies like them that have focused on those same types of themes, and I just don't need to see them anymore. I saw The Color Purple in 1985. I saw Malcolm X in 1992. I saw Amistad in 1997. Recently, of course, you know, I saw The Help. I've seen Django Unchained. I've seen Beasts of No Nation, which is still on Netflix. Big shout out to Idris Elba. Over the last few years, of course, I've seen Fences. I've also seen Get Out. You know, those are movies that I've wanted to see. And also just to be completely 100 with y'all, as much as I respect what he's done professionally, I just have yet to sit down and watch a Tyler Perry Madea film. I've seen some of his other films, yeah, but I just have had no interest nor any desire to watch a film with Madea in it. Just doesn't interest me. But bringing this all back and trying to close this all up, you know, Black Panther, that was something that I wanted to spend money on, not because it was a Black superhero movie, but it was a Black movie with top-notch Black talent. And if you want me to keep it completely honest and real, we should appreciate the fact that it was actually top-notch talent, period. And Disney was willing to cut that check. They were willing to open up the checkbook and they didn't leave any expenses spared. They went all the way in with it. They believed in it. They marketed it. And also they put resources behind an Oscars campaign. So on the eve of the Oscars and its 1 year anniversary, I felt it only right to share my thoughts today. Y'all let me know what y'all think, and I'll try to ramp up my thoughts and commentary as we move forward in the year. I'll try and talk about some other stuff, especially, the business of Star Wars. Ben Affleck has officially stepped down as Batman. I'll try to talk about everything else. Of course, I'm going to talk about Captain Marvel. I'm going to talk about Endgame. But y'all just let me know what y'all think. Oh, yeah, by the way, my wife is also killing me with her product. She's killing me with the productivity on some of her projects. Hopefully she can start broadcasting some of her projects and her output. I'm going to pimp Katrina's Crafted Creations. If I'm wrong, baby, you can send me a text message and let me know. So I need to step my game up on this, but I want to thank y'all for taking the time to watch this. I hope I haven't gone on too long. Y'all have a blessed one. I am gone.